Hey guys, today I'm going to share with you how I made my little cutie boss. I'm calling him a cutie boss because he is a baby alien of an unidentified species. So I'm saying a BAUS. The one I made originally used a discontinued yarn, and so I went out and found a different yarn to use for this tutorial so that you guys could be able to go and pick up the same kind of yarn if you wanted to and make yours look just like the one I've made. Okay, so for the supplies you're going to need 2 skeins of yarn of 2 different colors. The color and yarn type that I ended up settling with was Red Heart Super Saver yarn. This is Oatmeal and Frosty Green. You're going to need some kind of a button or safety eye. I like to use buttons just because it was easier for me when I created the face to get the eyes to kind of push in to get a little bit of depth in there. So I ended up using buttons, but safety eyes can be used too. You'll need a 22-pin knitting machine. I have the Addi Express, but you could probably use any 22-pin machine. This tutorial could probably be easily modified too for any other kind of machine. Then you're going to need like a darning needle or some kind of needle. All of the tubes are knit just using the yarn with the exception of the ears. Each of the ear pieces you're going to want to use some waste yarn. I'm just using the yarn that's for the sweater, but you could use any waste yarn that you have. So all of the other ones though, I don't really use waste yarn, it's not necessary, but for the ears it is because of the way you finish them. Okay, so here are all the pieces. You're going to want in your main body color a tube that's double thick, and this is going to be 80 rows. Then you need another tube. This is going to be a single layer tube. This one is 60 rows in the oatmeal color. You're going to need 2 little arm pieces, and for the arm pieces you are going to do two colors. You need to do 8 rows in the sweater color and 4 rows in the body color. And do remember when you do these that you need to tie this yarn here. I just kind of pull it a little bit and then I tie it into a knot. You just want to make sure you do that because if you don't, you could run the risk of having a hole or having your stitches come out. And then I just do a couple knots and I leave my tails kind of long. That way it just doesn't come out. It's a little bit for safety. And then there you have your little arms. So you want to make sure you do that with both of your arm pieces. And then you need 2 ear pieces. The ear piece is 13 rows of the alien body color and then some waste yarn on the top. So you're going to have 2 pieces that look like that, but since I already did one of them. Okay, so for the ears, this one I just took off the machine. You do want to make sure that when you switch to your waste yarn that you leave a long tail, because that's what you're going to be using to sew together the top of the ear. So it's important to have a decent amount of string or yarn for that, so that you don't, if you don't have enough, it's going to be really quite problematic. And what you're going to do is you're going to sew in like a zigzag these stitches together. So once you have all of those stitches together, you can then pull your waste yarn. Now I don't cut my waste yarn, I just pull it off. Okay, so now I have my top of the ear stitched closed. This is the bottom of the work with the cast on edge, and so that's what I use as the bottom. So once you have your ear to that point, then you're going to kind of fold it in half, and then you're going to fold back down and you want this little folded part to be just under, so that's going to come out right in front. And this is going to be, you can kind of see your ear here sort of taking shape there. So you're going to take your yarn and you're just going to stitch it right across to kind of close that top part there, and then you're going to stitch across back and forth, and you just want to make sure you pick up this in this second little stitch here. You want to make sure you have that middle part in there, and you're just going to stitch across to stitch this top part closed. So once you have that done, you're just going to come back to the middle. I just kind of go back in here and go like diagonally across to like the middle here. And you're going to kind of just stitch down that seam. I just go through the middle bar of each of the knit stitches and I come across to the other side. And I'm going to go around because it's kind of hidden, but you want to make sure that the ear doesn't come apart, and this kind of helps give you the point of the ear. So you're just going down through the middle, and you just do that to about 3 stitches or so. Therefore, however much you want to do. And then once you have that part down, then you're going to kind of put this stitch up here, and you'll see like you have 2 distinct rows of knitted, like a knit row, knit stitches there. You want to come up through the side of that, because then what you're going to do is you're going to stitch these in like a zigzag to kind of close the top part of the ear. It's really hard to do on the video, but you're going to pick up the bar and go under that one. And then I do it loose so that I can see what I'm doing. Then you're going to come to the one across and you grab that bar. And then you're just going to zigzag. It's kind of like you're making like a zipper close here. And you're going to grab that other bar. Then grab the other one across. You do that all the way till you get to the top. And then you're going to zipper it closed by pulling it tight. Okay, and when you get to the top, you just zipper it closed. And there you go. That's the top of your ear. So then you're going to want to kind of just, so that this looks a little bit nicer, I just kind of do a little wraparound stitch around the top. So I'm going to come through there, and then I just go back around, and it just kind of give it a little nicer finish. You see that looks a little bit better than what it looked like before. So then you're going to kind of do the same thing on the back. You're going to want to stitch these stitches so that they are closed. And I just go around from the inside and around a bar. So these are a little bit harder to see because your stitches are going to be a little bit different here on this one. There's the bar. And you just want to go down a few stitches. And do one more. Okay, so we're going to start with our alien body. The first thing that you're going to want to do here is cinch the bottom closed. So you want to do both layers cinched close, and I just tie it in a knot here. Okay, now that you have your little tube stuffed, then you're going to take some extra yarn. You could take the yarn that you just cut off from that other tail, and you're just going to thread it in here into this top fold of the stitches. Stitch with another piece of yarn around to meet in the front, and then that's going to give you your little, you know, head. So I'm going to do that off screen, and then okay, so I'm going to show you how I do the arms. So I take each of the arm pieces, and it is important that you make sure that you tie the yarn on the inside so that you don't have loose threads. So I've already done that, I've knotted the inside of it. And how I form them is I roll it up to make a tube for the arm. So I make sure that I fold it so that I have my yarn tail coming out on the same side there. To the other end and stitch that close, and I just do the same thing, and then I will work my yarn back down to the middle, and then I tie them together. Okay, so now I have my arms sewn, and I'm going to add them to the side of the body. So I just kind of look around and determine where I think the best front of this is, where I want the face to be. So I like that side. So then I just go here and I kind of see where I have the neck, and I'm going to take my seam side and I'm going to stitch on the arms. Okay, and then once you have your arms on, what I actually like to do is I like to take another piece of yarn and I'm going to put it into the tops of the arms just to kind of bring the body in, and I do that on the bottom. So it's just going to kind of help push them in. So I'm going to put in the yarn and go that way and just tie it securely, and I'll bring it out the back side, and then I'll do that again here. Just for that tube of the sweater, I've just kind of folded it down, and you can see where it kind of rolls up, and then I take the little tail of that and I just kind of cinch it slightly closed, and then I just kind of stitch around here at the bottom. So I just take my ears and I use the tail here, and then I'm going to take this tail and I'll bring it back down to this end, and I just sew them on. One on each side. Though, when I sewed the ears on, I hid all of my yarn, so after I was done sewing everything in, I hide all the yarn and tie all my knots in the neck, because then you have all your tails, and you can kind of leave your tails a little bit long just for safety reasons, so that the knots don't come out and you get all your knots and they're hidden under the sweater. And since the sweater doesn't come off, I think that's a pretty suitable compromise there. For the eyes, I'm going to use these flat, larger eyes because those are the eyes that my husband wanted to be used, and I used the little round ball eyes on the other one. So I thought that I would mix it up and use different eyes this time. And so what I do is I have the tail yarn from the head, and I've just brought that down to where I want to put the eyes in. And so I'm going to put each eye across, and then after I have the eyes put in, then I will stitch on my nose. Okay, I have my eyes sewn on, and so I'm going to use that same tail. I've just kind of gone in and out of the eyes a few times just to keep them, make sure that they're secure. And then all I did for the nose is I just stitched around a stitch. I just found a stitch and I went around it a couple of times with this yarn tail until it formed what I thought looked like a pretty cute little nose. And so you can, I go around just like horizontally a few times. And then I kind of did some triangle method, and I just kind of go as I please. It's just, I'm just really winging it just to make my nose come out and look like he's got just a little more. I really felt the nose kind of added to the face. And then after I've got the nose all stitched on, I will go back through the eyes one more time, and then I'll bring my yarn back down and connect with this yarn here and tie it off. And all of the other yarn tails that I had all come out through the neck under the sweater. Okay, so here are the little cutie bosses. So this was the original one. He is a little bit smaller. I didn't quite stuff him with as much filling, and he also was made using a different kind of yarn, so I think that also did kind of affect his size. And then here's the new version. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm actually really liking this color a little bit better than the other color. At first I thought this color was great until I saw this color, and I really like the ears, and I am happy with the big eyes. So I did end up, while I was making it, noticing that his body was a little too long, so I kind of opened up the bottom here and pulled out some of the filling so that he wasn't quite stuffed as much, and I think this is a much better size. He was just a little too long before. But here you go. There's our little cutie boss. I hope you have enjoyed this pattern, and I just